The crypto market in the past 24 hours has come down 0.057%. Looking at the top crypto projects, we can see that the greatest losers are currently Solana down 1.68%, which really isn't that much. XRP down 1.1%. The best are up, for example, BNB nearly 1% up and Ethereum nearly 1% up as well. The greatest gainers in the past 24 hours, leading the pack, Helium. It's inflating its price really well. And no, I'm not an AI for the person that said so in the past video. Let's have a look. The other ones are Weave, CAS, XMR, NEO, LDO, CKB, and Maker. And if you're new to the community, a very warm welcome. Looking at the greatest losers over the past 24 hours. Leading the bottom of the pack is Theta, followed by WIF, Core, Flare, Graph, Stacks, Link, and WorldCoin. But Ken, if you're not an AI, why don't you just show yourself? Because I want you to see the screen, not me. Let's have a look at the Bitcoin spot ETFs. We've seen quite a few outflows over the past couple of days. Some inflows, but generally outflows just recently. It's a little bit easier to see it down here. You can see the outflows have outmatched the inflows over the past 6 days. That generally places negative price momentum because the institutions have deep pockets. In terms of liquidations, across the past 24 hours, we can see that about $90 million worth, and we can see just generally the longs and shorts equally liquidated each other. For the past 46 days, we've seen negative price momentum inside of Bitcoin, and that's translated through to all of the crypto space. When Bitcoin comes down, the alts have a 99% probability of following the gravitational pull of Bitcoin down. Of course, when Bitcoin goes up, the alts have a 99% probability of following Bitcoin's gravitational pull upwards as well. But it's really important at the current time that we start to see some positive momentum. And with the spot Bitcoin ETFs coming on board in China and Hong Kong, well, more particularly Hong Kong, that's a pretty good piece of news. But as we saw when the spot Bitcoin ETFs just occurred inside the US, we saw negative price momentum and then Bitcoin went nuts. So just be prepared. We can see that the crypto market has been under pressure for the past 46 days. It's a really important thing that we start to recover up towards at least the $66,000 mark. Looking at lines like this may give the misunderstanding that all lines are created equal. They are not created equal. That's why let's just mark up the chart with the CTKS method. And let's pop on the indicator right here. When we put on the indicator, what we're helping us to understand, where are the confluences of structural resistance playing out inside the market? And we've seen continually around that 66,900 mark. It's been really tough. Bitcoin has not managed to get above this resistance and it's been rejected. Now, when it's rejected, it needs to come down, call all the shorts in so it can liquidate them to go upwards. Bitcoin is currently trading at 63,200. We can see that we're just marginally below a level of structural resistance, one structural support. We've noticed with Bitcoin's action, price action, we've had a number of failures or the incapability or the lack of capability of Bitcoin to trade at higher levels and break this negative downtrend. Of course, that will happen. Bitcoin is the apex investment right across the world globally, no question about it. And of course, a variety of different crypto projects are going to do really, really well. And many just will vanish into thin air. So just be aware of that too. What we're looking at is this 62,300 mark. If Bitcoin has continued negative momentum, we want to see how it reacts with this 62,300 level. If it bounces up, finds support and starts to go for it, that would have been a fake out. But if we find this kind of price behavior, at least we know that there are several levels of structural support underneath. Always have your three-dimensional thinking coming into play at all times. Bitcoin could just as easily come up here and challenge this 65,300 mark. But the real key is this 66,900. There's a lot of structural resistance there. Many people inside the crypto market simply don't look at Bitcoin. They just drill into their favorite alt. For example, if it was Solana, they would just look at Solana's levels. You might notice this blue line just hanging out with Solana. That's Bitcoin's price action, what we call Bitcoin's gravity. What about Dogecoin? Did the fall off in Bitcoin make any difference to Doge? Yes, it did. What about XRP? The fall off in Bitcoin, did it impact XRP? Yes, it did. What about Binance Coin? Yes, it did. What about ADA? Yes, sirree. And what about SHIB? Absolutely. You'll see from time to time, things can get a little bit disconnected, but they soon re-establish that particular gravitational pattern. Therefore, if you're not looking at Bitcoin and you don't know the levels on Bitcoin, the structural levels on Bitcoin, that's something that is a weakness, and that will cost you, unfortunately, a lot of money long term. Let's take Solana as an example. We know that Solana moves in accordance with Bitcoin levels, but it's also got its own structure. If we look down here at 132.22, that's a structural level, and you can see there's a couple of them there. That means that when we get down to here, we expect that price to hold. This is why you always need to cross-reference levels. Also understand that this structure is not necessarily a brick wall. It's kind of elastic. Price can go under and then get attracted back to this area, something to just bear in mind. And when we look at the 146 structural level, that's where we want Solana to get up to and over and start challenging the 160 mark. But we know for Solana to do this, Bitcoin must be coming up. For Solana's price to come up, Bitcoin needs to consolidate around the current level of structural support. Hopefully it's going to confirm that as support and then move up to the 63,400 mark and then confirm that as support and start to move up. If that is the case, we expect all of the alts to rally. If it goes the other way and we can't hold on to this, we'll likely come back and retest it and resume downwards again. Just keep your eye on what price is actually doing. That's where the money is. When looking at how the alts relate to Bitcoin's gravitational pull, the alts always exacerbate downturns and over-promote upturns in Bitcoin's gravitational pull. This means, quite simply, that when Bitcoin goes up, we expect the alts to go up much, much more, and that's what we see on average. But please just keep in mind, as Bitcoin is going, so too do the alts. This kind of behavior is an illustration of Rule 446. All markets and therefore charts are intercorrelated and interdependent. What Bitcoin does will affect Solana, Doge, ADA, XRP, and all of the crypto space. I'd like to thank everybody for their exceptional comments in yesterday's video. Wow, what a group of people we have. As a global family, we're interested in positive excellence, and Nash G said something exceptional. Imagine a world where people were rewarded for their kindness. How different would this world be? Wow. That is an exceptional comment, Nash G. Thank you for sharing, my friend. When we look at Dogecoin, we can see that Doge was trying to maintain this specific level, but it just couldn't. It's dropped under because of Bitcoin's gravitational pull, and it's pulled it below a fairly solid structural support level, which it's actually retested as resistance at the current time. Looking at ADA's levels, ADA is currently trading at 46.20. You can see it's below this 46.70 level of one structural support and has turned in to structural resistance. We can also see around the 50-cent mark that ADA has a lot of structural resistance. There's a lot of overhead to get through. And ADA's next structural support level is around that 43.30, so that's something to be aware of. If Bitcoin recovers and goes positive, we would expect ADA to get positive as well, challenging this 50-cent mark. But if the bears remain in control, that could potentially push us down to 43.10. When it comes to stacking probabilities, we can see that the S&P 500 futures are positive. The Nasdaq futures and the Dow and the Russell, they're all positive. We can see there's been a bit of a divergence between Bitcoin and the major market indices. This is typically due to crypto-specific news events. It's possible with the upcoming sentencing of CZ and the fines on Binance. There could be some turbulence inside the crypto market. I think smart money's just positioning itself, just waiting to see what will happen. Life is not about what you get, it's about who you become. That's why we focus on positive excellence. Success and money is a byproduct of simply doing the right thing. One of your focal points, if you want to be a standout success, is to have learning, humility, and patience. In the comments today, you might like to say something about learning. Learning is a really good thing to focus on. In fact, it's the only way that you can truly succeed. Unfortunately, there are some people who just make luck a wealth-building strategy. Luck and gambling are not wealth-building strategies. They're poverty-building strategies. One thing to always bear in mind, when people talk about gambling, they're frequently just searching for far-out odds. But professional gamblers don't do that. They know that certainty creates terror. They're into probability and rules. Professional gamblers do not gamble. They have a system, they run the numbers, they know what they're doing, and they know when to cut loose of something as well. Mainstream gambling is something completely different. It's about the thrill, it's about the chase, it's about getting it right and about winning. All of these things won't make you more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. Gambling is insidious and you want to give it the boot right where it fits. Gambling only occurs in Zone 1 and Zone 2. Those Zone 1 and Zone 2 behaviors not just affect the person that's doing the gambling, it affects everybody. The friends, the family members, every single person. There's a very insidious side to gambling. Gambling not only destroys the life of the person who gambles, it also destroys the lives of those they love around them. If you or someone you know suffers from gambling as an addiction, the self-growth that they have to do to get through it starts always with kindness and learning about oneself. We're never in a position that we have all the answers. Getting help is a really good idea, and respecting yourself and forgiving yourself if you're gambling is really important. But you must be accountable for what you're doing. You must have the strength to create boundaries, to realize that you don't have a gambling problem, you simply have a self-esteem problem. It can take a lot of courage to deal with gambling as an addictive problem. But until a person can be kind to themselves and look inwards and start to learn their way out of a problem, and this goes with any problem that anyone could ever have, they will remain stuck. As with all things in life, this will require persistence and commitment, but it's totally worth it. And a great thing to remember, put money and success in last place where it deserves to be. What is truly important is inner and outer peace, gratitude, happiness, and especially kindness. And being kind to yourself is critically important. Gambling can only occur inside Zone 1 and Zone 2. As soon as a person moves out of Zone 1 and Zone 2, they just give away gambling because it's too expensive. Therefore, getting into Zone 3 and Zone 4 is absolutely the way to go. Inside our community, we do not believe in luck, we believe in learning. Because we are dedicated and committed, we either win or learn and never blame. We know the universe wants us to succeed, so every day we can show kindness, integrity, and gratitude. And always remember that if you're going through a life pullback, that's simply giving you strength for the next life rally. Always remember, all results come from the mind, and a better mind creates better outcomes. Better habits create a better life, so all you need to do to succeed is have better habits. Remember that luck is not a wealth-building strategy. It never was. Kick gambling to the curb where it belongs. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again in the next video. Bye for now.